Title: The Ten Commandments, An Enduring Guide for Moral Living. Introduction. The Ten Commandments, which were handed down by God to Moses on Mount Sinai, are considered one of the most important and enduring moral codes in human history. These commandments have guided millions of people for thousands of years, but they remain a subject of debate and controversy to this day. In this video essay, we will explore the significance of the Ten Commandments and how they have impacted moral thinking and ethical behavior over the centuries. Historical context. To fully appreciate the importance of the Ten Commandments, it is essential to understand the historical and cultural context in which they were given. The Israelites, who were led out of slavery in Egypt by Moses, were a people in need of a moral code. In a world of rampant idolatry, violence, and immorality, they were called to be a holy and just people. The Ten Commandments were given to them as a guide for living according to God's will, and as a means of establishing a just and equitable society. The commandments themselves. Let's take a closer look at the Ten Commandments themselves. They are as follows. You shall have no other gods before me. You shall not make for yourself an idol or any likeness of what is in heaven above or on the earth beneath. You shall not misuse the name of the Lord your God. Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. Honor your father and your mother. You shall not murder. You shall not commit adultery. You shall not steal. You shall not give false testimony against your neighbor. You shall not covet anything that belongs to your neighbor. These commandments cover a wide range of moral and ethical principles, from the worship of God to the treatment of our fellow human beings. They represent a comprehensive guide to living a just and holy life, and are considered by many to be the foundation of Western morality. Interpretation and debate. Despite the clear and straightforward language of the Ten Commandments, there has been much debate and interpretation over the centuries about their meaning and application. For example, some have argued that the prohibition against making graven images extends to all forms of art and creativity, while others have taken a more lenient view. Similarly, the commandment to honor one's parents has been subject to debate, with some arguing that it should be understood as a call to respect all authority figures, while others interpret it more narrowly. There has also been significant debate over the relationship between the Ten Commandments and other aspects of Jewish law and tradition. Some have argued that the Ten Commandments should be seen as a summary of the entire law, while others see them as a distinct and separate set of commandments. Influence on Western morality. Despite these debates and interpretations, the Ten Commandments have had a profound and lasting influence on Western morality. They have been the subject of countless sermons, lectures, and writings, and have been referenced in countless works of art and literature. Many of the principles embodied in the Ten Commandments have been incorporated into the legal systems of Western societies, and are considered fundamental to the functioning of just and equitable societies. For example, the commandments against murder, theft, and perjury have been enshrined in Western legal systems, and form the basis of much of our criminal justice system. While there has been much debate over their interpretation and application, there is no denying their importance as a guide for ethical behavior and moral thinking in Western society. Their principles have been incorporated into the legal systems of Western societies, and they continue to shape our thinking about what is just and fair. But the impact of the Ten Commandments extends beyond Western societies. They have influenced the ethical thinking of many cultures and religions, and have been a source of inspiration and guidance for people all over the world. The Commandments in contemporary society. Despite their continued importance and influence, the Ten Commandments are not always embraced in contemporary society. In some circles, they are seen as outdated, intolerant, and even dangerous. Critics argue that they are too focused on obedience to authority, and do not place enough emphasis on personal freedom and individual autonomy. There are also those who see the Ten Commandments as a relic of a more primitive time, and argue that modern society has evolved beyond the need for such strict and rigid moral codes. They suggest that we should focus on promoting empathy, compassion, and tolerance, rather than following a set of rules and commandments. But while there is certainly room for debate and discussion, the principles embodied in the Ten Commandments remain as relevant and important today as they ever have been. They provide a guide for living a just and equitable life, and help us to navigate the complex moral challenges of our time. For example, the commandment to honor our parents and respect authority figures is as important now as it ever was. In a time when so many people are quick to rebel against established authority and question traditional values, the commandment to respect our elders and those in positions of power is a reminder that we must always strive for balance and moderation. Similarly, The commandment to not bear false witness against our neighbor is more important than ever in an age of fake news and misinformation. It reminds us of the importance of truth and honesty, and calls us to be diligent in our pursuit of accuracy and objectivity. Perhaps most importantly, the Ten Commandments remind us of the importance of love and compassion. The commandment to love our neighbor as ourselves calls us to embrace the humanity of others, and to treat them with kindness and empathy. It reminds us that we are all interconnected, and that our actions have an impact on those around us. Conclusion. In conclusion, the Ten Commandments remain one of the most important and enduring moral codes in human history. Despite the debates and controversies that surround them, their principles have guided millions of people for thousands of years, and continue to shape our thinking about what is just and fair. As we navigate the complex moral challenges of our time, the Ten Commandments provide us with a guide for living a just and equitable life. They remind us of the importance of truth, honesty, and respect for authority, and call us to embrace love and compassion in all of our interactions with others. Ultimately, the Ten Commandments are a testament to the enduring power of moral codes and ethical principles. They remind us that we are all part of a larger community, and that our actions have consequences that extend far beyond ourselves. By embracing the principles embodied in the Ten Commandments, we can work towards building a more just, equitable, and compassionate world for all. The concept of evil has been present in human thought since the beginning of civilization. It has been explored in literature, philosophy, religion, and psychology, and has been a source of fascination and fear for people throughout history. However, while evil has always been a part of the human experience, many would argue that it has become worse in modern times. There are several factors that contribute to this perception. One is the increased visibility of evil in the modern world. With the advent of the internet and social media, we are more connected than ever before, and have access to a seemingly endless stream of news and information from all over the world. This means that we are more aware of the evil that exists in the world than previous generations were. Another factor is the changing nature of evil itself. While evil has always taken many different forms, it seems that the modern world has given rise to new and more insidious types of evil. For example, cyberbullying, online harassment, and hate speech are all forms of evil that have only become possible with the rise of digital technology. Additionally, there is a growing sense that the institutions and systems that are meant to protect us from evil are failing. From corrupt politicians to corporate greed to police brutality, it seems that those in positions of power are often more concerned with their own interests than with the well-being of the people they are supposed to serve. This has led to a growing sense of disillusionment and distrust in these institutions, which in turn makes it easier for evil to flourish. There are also those who argue that the root cause of evil in the modern world is a loss of moral values. In a world that values individualism, consumerism, and instant gratification, it can be difficult to maintain a sense of moral purpose and direction. This can lead to a culture of moral relativism, where anything goes and there are no absolute standards of right and wrong. This can make it easier for people to justify immoral behavior, and for evil to take hold. However, despite the many challenges that we face in the modern world, there is reason to be hopeful. While it is true that evil is more visible and more insidious than ever before, we also have more tools at our disposal to fight it. We have access to information, communication, and education on a scale that would have been unimaginable just a few decades ago. We also have a growing awareness of the importance of moral values, and a renewed commitment to building a more just and equitable world. Perhaps most importantly, we have the power of community. While evil may seem overwhelming and all-encompassing at times, we must remember that we are not alone. There are millions of people all over the world who are committed to fighting evil and making the world a better place. By coming together and working towards a common goal, we can overcome the forces of evil and create a brighter future for ourselves and for future generations. In conclusion, the concept of evil has always been a part of the human experience. While there are many who believe that evil has gotten worse in modern times, there is reason to be hopeful. By leveraging the power of community, and by continuing to work towards building a more just and equitable world, we can overcome the forces of evil and create a better future for ourselves and for future generations.